down. Yes, 3 down.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Ironworker Gaming channel, or welcome to the Ironworker Gaming channel for the very first time. I am Ironworker814, and in this video, we will be reviewing the curated role of the Gnawing Hunger for use in the Crucible. If you do not know what I mean by curated role, it is a hand-selected set of perks by Bungie that will drop on a fully masterworked weapon at the end of an activity. So do you guys have a gun in your arsenal that no matter how bad things are going, if you switch to it and pick it up, automatically everything starts going better? Well, this one is mine. I've used many different roles of the Gnawing Hunger since it came out in Season of the Drifter, but for the Crucible, I always keep going back to this curated role. I love what it can do for me and I love how it performs. As always, these reviews are geared toward lower skill players so that they may have a better experience in the Crucible when armed with some additional information. If you would be interested in supporting this channel, there is a free and easy way to do so. You can hit like on this video to help it reach more people, or hit subscribe on the channel to help it grow. Or you could do both and be super awesome, and I would love you forever for that. So, as I said earlier, the Gnawing Hunger was released into Destiny 2 about a year ago, in the Season of the Drifter. There's little confusion around the community about how to exactly obtain this gun. You can definitely find it dropping in Tier 3 Reckoning when the Shadow of Oryx is the boss. Some believe this to be the only source, but I have seen it drop from Gambit Prime bounties, from Gambit milestones, and from Hawthorne for your Gambit clan reward. The thing that I cannot confirm is whether it will only drop from these Ingrams or milestones or clan rewards if you have first obtained it from Tier 3 Reckoning. So little confusion there. The guaranteed way to get it is Tier 3 Reckoning though. Either way, Tier 3 Reckoning is the only way to get the curated role to drop, and that is the role we are examining today. So, without further ado, let us take a look at the perks and stats of the Gnawing Hunger. Okay, the Gnawing Hunger is a 600 round per minute legendary auto rifle. This one with the curated role will hold 48 in the magazine. The general stats for this gun are all on par or slightly better when compared to other 600 RPM legendary auto rifles. The exception is the stability. When compared to the other auto rifles of this archetype, it is a shade lower, but we're going to get into that in just a minute because there's some interesting things going on there. The barrel is arrowhead brake, helping out with recoil and handling. The magazine is appended mag for increased magazine size. The legendary trait is overflow, and this trait is only available on the curated role. It also comes with rampage, a handling masterwork, and I slapped on a rampage spec just for that increased rampage duration. Targeting adjuster or counterbalance stock might also be some other pretty decent options if you want to slap something other than a rampage spec on here. Okay, for damage values, I am just going to give you the base numbers, but keep in mind that when you have rampage on a weapon, it'll increase the damage by 10, 20, or 30% depending on the amount of stacks of rampage you have accumulated. The Gnawing Hunger being a 600 round per minute auto rifle, which I've said like 50 times already, and I'm sorry about that, but it does 25 on a critical hit and 16 to the body, giving the Gnawing Hunger a 0.7 second optimal time to kill, requiring 7 crits and 1 body shot, with a body shot time to kill of 1.2 seconds, requiring 13 shots landed. Now, let us get into the meat and the potatoes of the video and head into the pros. The first pro. The sandbox changes in March made auto rifles of the 600 round per minute variety awesome. These auto rifles are now meta. The Gnawing Hunger was really good before these sandbox changes, but after the sandbox changes, this thing is lethal. Another thing to consider is that Gnawing Hunger is a legendary weapon that goes in the energy slot, which means you are free to use your exotic slot on either your primary or heavy weapon. It's really nice finding a legendary weapon of this caliber. It really helps out with build diversity and weapon pairings. The reticle on this gun when aiming down sights is nice and thin and low profile. There's very little visual impairment, and a clean reticle is a very underrated advantage, especially for a lower skill player that might have a tough time tracking their target as is. A big chunky sight can make that all that much harder. And the overflow perk is absolutely insane on the Gnawing Hunger. In the Crucible, when you run over a special brick, you will reload your weapon with 96 rounds. Yes, 96 rounds in a weapon with one of the most competitive time to kills in Destiny 2. And, as I'm sure you've taken notice of in your 6v6 game modes, there are special ammo bricks laying all over the map at all times. So that means you'll probably have 96 rounds in your magazine more often than not. That means no more disengaging from gunfights to reload, or getting blindsided by a guardian you didn't see coming while you are reloading, because you're probably not gonna need to. And think about how this pairs with the Rampage perk, increasing your damage and lethality even more. If you can position yourself well, or catch a line of enemies funneling towards you, the Gnawing Hunger has all the firepower in the world to sit every one of these opponents down. Okay, into the cons, but the first con I have listed could actually be a pro for some people, and this is when we talk about the stability and recoil of the Gnawing Hunger. This is the point where we go to light.gg and pull up the hidden stats for the Gnawing Hunger. As you can see on screen, the recoil of this gun is 54 and the bounce intensity is 46, and these numbers are not great. These are the base stats of the gun, and the Curated roll does have some perks on it to mitigate the recoil. But you're probably wondering, Ironworker, how could this possibly be a good thing? Note the bounce direction of the gun. It says it tends left, so that means when you're holding down the trigger, your gun is going to move up and left. This is what I want to see on a weapon. I love this recoil direction, and it works out perfectly for me. I naturally pull down and to the right to control a gun's recoil when tracking a target. And being that my brain is hardwired that way, it is actually a lot easier for me to stay on a target when the gun is kicking off to the left than when using a gun where the recoil is completely vertical. So, if you're like me, this is a pro. If you are not, there are more stable weapons out there for you. The next con is one I always remind you about when we're talking about an auto rifle, and that is your time out in the open and your time out of cover. You are very susceptible to sniper fire or fire from an angle you did not expect. And the last con I want to touch on is the fact it is not hard light. Hard light is probably the best gun in the Crucible right now, and it shares the same archetype as the Gnawing Hunger and goes in the same slot. So, if you're not planning on using an exotic in your primary or heavy slot, it is really hard to argue against putting hard light in your energy slot, which would take the place of the Gnawing Hunger. It's just too strong to pass up in the current meta. So, the verdict. In my opinion, the Gnawing Hunger is a fantastic option if you want to use a legendary auto rifle. It's not hard light, but it absolutely is competitive in the current sandbox. It should definitely be in the discussion of best 600 round per minute legendary auto rifles. I'll put the possible rolls of this gun up on screen now so you can pore over them just in case you're thinking about going out and trying to farm yourself one of these if you don't have one already. If you do have one and haven't tried this gun out in Season of Worthy, I think it's definitely time to dust it off and give that trigger a few pulls. And like I said, if you don't have it, it's probably worth putting up with some reckoning and going to get it. So my verdict is yes. Gnawing Hunger is a fantastic legendary auto rifle. This is my auto rifle. I absolutely love this gun. Give it a try, see what it can do for you. If you'd be interested in supporting this channel, now is a great time to hit like and subscribe. It really helps this channel grow, and it never goes unnoticed. I always appreciate it. If you'd like to catch me live, I do stream on Twitch sometimes. It's kind of sporadic, but if you head over there, look for Ironworker814 and give me a follow, you will get notified whenever I am live. Also, you could message me on Twitter at Ironworker814, but the best way to contact me is simply by leaving a comment down below. I read and respond to all my comments. I love engaging in conversation, and I don't mind hearing feedback. So if you want to leave me something down there, feel free. With all that being said, I would like to thank you once again for taking the time out of your day to check out my content. You guys are awesome, and I will catch you on the next one.